Well, I have a personal little boycott going on with liberal Hollywood right now. I refuse to buy tickets to go see their movies and instead buy bullets to go target shooting. So the last movie I actually saw was 2016, Obama's America. So I just wanted to point that out real fast. I am a Republican, a black, dyed-in-the-wool Republican, and I never intend to belong to any other party than the party of freedom and progress. That's Frederick Douglass. Times change, politics change, policies change, but principles should never change. So now I'd like to introduce the leader of the Republican Party, Reince Priebus. Elected in 2011 and re-elected in 2013, Reince Priebus oversees is the chairman of the Republican RNC. Reince oversaw a dramatic turnaround in the RNC, rescuing its finances, rebuilding the operations, and implementing the best ground game effort the RNC has ever organized. Reince is committed to taking the party's message of freedom and economic opportunity to all states and all communities. So I'd like to please introduce the head of the RNC, Reince Priebus.
Well, good afternoon, fellow conservatives, and congratulations, CPAC, on your 40th year. I want you to know that I feel totally and completely blessed to be with you all again for my third straight year. I want you to know that I know that the future of our movement and our party has been on display here at CPAC this week. And I say that we have a lot to be excited about, and you're to be commended for showing us the future of the Republican Party. I'm grateful to be joined this week by fellow cheeseheads Ron Johnson, Scott Walker, Paul Ryan. When you all arrived here in Washington, you sent Washington a message. Today, our message is clear. The old Washington ways aren't working. We need conservative solutions to our liberal-induced problems. Here we are in 2013, and Democrats are still in love with a vision of big government that's outdated and ineffective. Their philosophy is a one-size-fits-all. Bureaucrats choose your health care, choose your energy, choose your child's school, and choose where to spend your money. You have more options when purchasing a pizza on your iPhone. Just slap an old Smithsonian sign on those government office buildings. They're museums of another time, artifacts of the old way. Where you're here and we're here to say there's a better way, a conservative way. Republicans believe the individual makes better decisions than the bureaucrat. We believe caring for this generation shouldn't require robbing the next. This week, House Republicans put out a budget that protects our seniors and balances in 10 years. And by the way, who's ready for our elected officials to defund Obamacare once and for all? The House Republican budget is right for America. In contrast, you have Senate Democrats whose budget, the first one in 4 years, calls for more taxes and more spending. You know how long it takes for them to get a balanced budget? That's a trick question. Never. In fact, it never balances, ever. If Democrats and the president joined a self-help group for their addiction to spending, Spending Anonymous, they wouldn't make it through their first meeting. Because the first step, of course, is always admitting that you have a problem. But Nancy Pelosi said it's a false argument to say that we have a spending problem. This week, the president said there's no debt crisis either. He says he's for a balanced approach, but his approach is about as balanced as political coverage on MSNBC. You know, Washington liberals, they can't get it right. They just keep grabbing money and power, and quite frankly, they've done a pretty good job of it lately. So we've got to introduce these guys to the 10th Amendment, an amendment drafted to ensure that powers not given to the federal government are reserved for the states and the people. Obama's federal government is a disaster, lurching from crisis to crisis. They think that federal action can solve everything. The reality is they haven't fixed anything. So I say to them, get out of the way. Let states and cities and families take the lead in helping Americans improve their lives. It's not just constitutional, it's common sense. And we've got 30 Republican governors who can prove it. They're showing that government of the people, by the people, for the people should be kept closest to the people. To fix our nation, conservatives have to hold the president accountable, just like an ophthalmologist from Kentucky did when he challenged the president on the Senate floor. And I, ladies and gentlemen, I am an RNC chairman that is here to applaud Senator Rand Paul for what he's done and what he did on the Senate floor 2 weeks ago. When President Obama refused to answer a simple question, Rand Paul didn't sit down. For 13 hours, he stood proudly on the principles of liberty, one by one. Other senators joined him. And how great is that? We've got a lot to be proud of. Ted Cruz, Ron Johnson, Marco Rubio, Mike Lee, and more. I, for one, applaud this new generation of liberty-minded Republicans. Just by speaking out, they got the attention and support of people who always don't vote for us. We need to bring that spirit of unity that we had 2 weeks ago every day as a party and a movement. Because if we're going to win more elections, we have to grow this party. After the election, I convened a task force called the Growth and Opportunity Project to figure out how the party can grow and win. They've listened to nearly 50,000 individuals, hopefully many of you, and on Monday they'll release their recommendations. We're going to compete in every state because being a blue state is not a permanent diagnosis. We have to develop the best technology with the best minds and train volunteers and candidates with the modern tools to succeed. We'll take our message of opportunity where it's not being heard because we're concerned about every American in every neighborhood across the country. I'll announce these specific actions that we're taking on Monday morning. It will be big, and I promise you all it will be bold. I'll be speaking at the National Press Club because, after all, I said we have to take our message to those who haven't heard it or don't understand it. But seriously, when you hear it, I hope you'll tell us what you think. But the RNC obviously can't do this alone. Each of us together has a stake. Our party's success is going to determine our country's success. So we have to be united and work together. In the next election, I don't know who's going to win. I don't know who's going to run. But I know this: Republicans will be a party people will want to join, the Growth and Opportunity Party. We won't compromise our timeless principles. but we're going to have to make them relatable to all voters as we champion prosperity, success, and freedom for everybody. That's our calling. That's where we need to be. A coast-to-coast, granular party that understands that we're living in a world of permanent politics, and we better get with it. And that's my promise to you. And with that, it's my honor to introduce to you another Wisconsinite. And in this crowd, introducing this guy is a pretty easy job because we've gotten to know him pretty well over all these years, and I certainly have in Wisconsin. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the former chairman of the American Conservative Union and the president of the National Rifle Association, a great American and fellow cheesehead. Please welcome my friend, David Keene.